So next one is White Nights Azure Blue, and this is this color right here. So I'm going to go into that color. I'm just going to use quite a bit of water here, and then on the palette I'm going to take it out and then get some water in, because again it's quite intense, and I'm going to do as intended, wet on dry. Already you can hopefully see that it is the Schmincke Helio Turquoise is starting to dry and the color is shifting. Now you can see how staining most of these colors are, because the line is hard to move. So the next one I'm going to do is the wet on dry, and the water is going to be a little bit stained. And it's going to be quite intense, and I'm just going to go straight in with the color. So this is the lemon yellow. It's looking a little bit dirty, but that's predominantly because I had a little bit of this azure blue on my brush. So I'm going to go in on top and a beautiful color that we get. Quite intense. So if I'm looking on the color chart, it's very similar to the emerald green, which is basically the phthalo green. Okay, now let's move to the next turquoise color in my White Nights palette, and that is the Turquoise Blue, which is over here, and as we discussed previously, it's more on the green side rather than blue. This color right here. It's a beautiful color nonetheless. Very bright, as you can see. And also very staining. So this line right here that has been created, it's hard to lift. Okay, so I'm now going to go in and do the wet on wet. The water is already stained, so the lemon yellow is going to be a little bit dirty. That's actually not too bad, but it's not perfectly clean. So I'm going to do about 2/3, and then I'm going to go into this lovely color again. So it should be even greener, which it is. Okay, so the next one we have is a Peacock Blue by Mijello, which is this one here. And let's see how that's going to behave. So Mijellos are quite bright and staining, so that is to be expected. Beautiful color again. And very staining, you can see out of all of them. This is very hard to move about. So quite literally going to leave this line. There we go. Let's try wet on wet. And now let's go ahead and pick up that lemon yellow. About 2/3 of the way. And now again, Peacock Blue. So I have heard somewhere that Mijellos look beautiful as they are, but once you start mixing them you can get a little bit of a muddy color. So you can see that on comparison to the other greens, it looks slightly less clear. But let's wait and see what it looks like once it's has dried. So I had to take out these two Kuretake pans because the palette is humongous. I'll try to show it to you, so it's hard for me to keep it in frame. So the Kuretake is basically this one. So it's called Cobalt Blue and it's number 62. So again, let's start by, they feel a little bit different because they are different to the classic watercolor paint. So I just will make sure I've got enough water here to make it nice and creamy. So here we go. It's a beautiful color. It is the bluest out of them all, and as you can see, not as staining as the others. So I can still move it about easily. Let's try wet and wet. I'm actually really interested to see, because I don't think I've tried this technique with Kuretake yet. It probably won't do the same thing. It does a little bit, but it actually, as you can see, it's not moving as fast. So you can see how quickly they spread, whereas here they're taking a lot longer. And finally, let's go into the lemon yellow, which is number 40. And see what nice color we can get with that. So I'm now going to go into this Cobalt Blue and go on top and see what we can get. Yeah, it's a lot greener. It's like a yellow, yellow-green. So let me quickly dry all of these colors. Okay, so here are the dried colors. Now, interestingly, I just noticed that Kuretake seems to be granulating, and I couldn't pick that up on this paper. So here you can't really see that. However, on the Moulin de Roy, you can see the granulation. That is not happening on any of the other colors. So is this one you're looking at? And look at this. And also look at the green with the yellow. The granulation comes through here as well. Although I have to say it looks quite beautiful on camera. It's got that variation. So out of all of them, Kuretake obviously should be a subgroup, so it's not really part of the watercolors as we know them. But like I said, I just wanted to include it. But and you can see it stands out quite strongly because it's not doing the same thing, and you can't expect it to do the same thing. So that is what we have here. So I'd say these two colors are almost identical. The White Nights Azure Blue and the Mijello Peacock Blue. So if we're looking at the first two boxes right here, the color disperse is identical, the color pigments are identical. However, when it comes to mixing it with the PY3 of the own brand, both of them, the lemon yellows, you can see a big difference. So here the color is a little bit on the opaque and muddy side, whereas here we still get that lovely clear typical phthalo green color. So here the next one being in the middle of them two is also the White Nights Turquoise Blue, which, like I said, the name is slightly confusing, but it is definitely leaning towards the green side, so it's more of a green color, and to be expected when you mix it with the lemon yellow, then you get more greener green, if that makes sense. But the color disperse is exactly the same. So these three are within the same kind of behavioral and pigment value group. However, Schmincke is standing out as Kuretake, and Schmincke is standing out purely because it dries to a much lighter color. But it did a good job with mixing the two colors. A lovely green here. Very similar to the turquoise blue with lemon yellow, so it's a greeny, kind of more of a warm toned green. And when it dries to the palest color, so it's the palest out of them. And the color disperse is the same as these four. So yeah, this was really interesting to do, and I think I shall do this more often now. It's a fantastic way of getting to know your colors even further. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.